This is Jeremy Palmer, and I'm reporting on the growing problem of food waste in the world. What is food waste? Well, food waste is food that is lost, wasted, or uneaten. Food waste losses occur during any of the four stages of the food supply chain, from producers, processors, retailers, and also food waste can come from consumers. Main causes of food waste. Food waste is seen from production, processing, retailing, and consumers. In the production of food, it is hard to tell whether there's food waste, since production of food is dedicated for the projected need of the food rather than the demand of it. Nevertheless, on farms, losses that come from storage in developing countries can be high because of weather or animals and insects. In the United States, the food supply is the most abundant of any other country in the world. Losses are seen here in greater strides since natural weather remain the primary drives of crop growth. Losses from natural weather is also experienced in outdoor agriculture. On average, the U.S. loses 6 billion pounds of crops every year to unpredictable conditions. Some of the food waste produced by processing can be difficult to reduce without affecting the quality of the finished product. So it is easier for them to just keep wasting the amounts of food that they are, rather than fixing the problem. Also, food safety regulations can claim foods which contradict standards before they reach markets. This in turn can conflict with efforts to reuse food waste, because usually it'll go to dumps instead of being fed to animals. In retailing, food waste can be seen in packaging. Packaging protects food from human consumption, but it may also contaminate food that is used for animal feed. Because if the packaging is contaminated, you would not want to feed that to the animals, because those animals may be killed and be made into food for human consumption, and it'll contaminate that. Retail stores throw away large quantities of food. Usually this consists of items that have reached either their best before, sell-by, or use-by dates. Usually food that has passed the best before and sell-by date, and even some foods after their use-by date, are still edible at the time of them being thrown out. Usually it's the use-by date is the final date, not the other two. The sell-by and the best before. For the best before date, it is the best time for the product to be eaten. But after that, it's still completely edible, but it's not going to be at its peak performance. Sell-by date is just the final date that it's acceptable for the stores to sell their products. Eating after that date is usually still safe. Retailers also contribute to the waste from their contracts with these suppliers. Because if a supplier can't bring in their specified amount, their contracts can be canceled. So usually the suppliers will overproduce food, so there can be a margin of error in what they produce. and usually the surplus of the food will end up in landfills because they won't need it. Consumers are directly and indirectly responsible for wasting a lot of food, which could for a large part be avoided. To avoid the waste of food, consumers would have to be able to accept food that looks different from the rest. When there's no difference in freshness and healthiness of the food, just like the carrots shown in these pictures, like this picture. There's no difference. These carrots are still pretty healthy. They just look a lot weirder than a normal carrot. Also, consumers buy more food than they need, but also they end up throwing away the food that they do not eat, that they overbuy. They only really need to buy the food that they will eat for the certain amount of time that they're buying food for. And then also consumers succumb to the best before date, the sell by date type thing, where they would throw away the food as soon as it hit the date that they see on the label, whether it is bad or not. This is a bar graph showing food lost per year from different parts of the world. As you can see from this graph, in Europe, around 100 million kilograms of food is wasted by consumers per year. Around 180 million is wasted by production to retailing per year. And then in North America and Oceania, around 120 million kilograms of food is wasted from consumers, while 180 million is wasted from production to retailing. And then in industrialized Asia, only around 60 million kilograms would be wasted of food, but also around 170 million is wasted from production to retailing. The Saharan Africa has the lowest